Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Here's another video for you guys. Today I'm going to be doing a car review on this Infiniti Q60S. This here is probably the fastest vehicle that Infiniti has come out with. Now, there's a lot going on here. It's kind of an aggressive front styling, and let's just kind of dive into it. I'll go over some interior features here. So as you first open the door, you have the Infiniti logo that will glow in the door sill plate here. You have this extremely soft and supple leather seat here. Leather steering wheel. Looks like you have some pretty cool sport pedals here with some rubber grip pads on it as well. Then we come here to my favorite piece of it, the blue and black carbon fiber that just kind of runs all along the inside of the trim here, even all along the door panel there. It's super nice and very, very sporty feeling. I also love the way the steering wheel feels. It's just a really nice feeling in your hand. As for legroom, there is quite a bit of legroom down here. As for headroom, when you come up here, there's a little, it seems to not have nearly as much headroom as you'd want. So if you're pretty much over 6', I'd probably say 6'4", you're probably going to touch your head right on the roof there. But that shouldn't stop you from wanting to buy this vehicle, because even then, you can still just tilt the seat back just a little bit more, just to get a bit more headroom. Up top here, we do have a sunroof that does tilt and slide all the way back there. Now they've also designed an easy way to access the back seat without having to tilt this completely all the way forward, and it just becomes a pain and a nightmare to get into the back there. They have this, which just delatches or kind of unlatches the seat there, so you can easily climb in the back. As for space in the back seat here, there is a surprisingly large amount of legroom, which most two-door coupes do not have. And like, there is even surprisingly a lot more headroom than I was expecting. But of course the seats back here are also leather as well, super soft and supple. And I would definitely, even if you have a kid or something, I would highly recommend this vehicle, because there's still quite a bit of room back here for them to be able to throw up, and I'm 5'8", and I'm sitting back here comfortably with no issues right now. Alright, so some other features you don't see in other cars nowadays is, like, right up here, you do have a sunglass holder, which I am currently using, of course, but most cars nowadays surprisingly do not have that. Over here in the infotainment system, you do have your navigation, which this does have two screens. So you have your navigation up there, which also has like your temperature there, music you're playing, more temperature, direction, like compass. Then here you can also put in your street address, points of interest. Of course, if you put the car in drive and start moving, right now it's going to do it because I'm stopped, but if you start moving at all, this will black out and you won't be able to use it, which is perfectly fine. You do have your phone, which is fairly easy connect. You just click on the phone there, and if you don't know how to get back home, you can either press menu or click this little back button there, but you'll click connect device. You can click add new. Right now I just have my personal phone in there right now. You can dial number. You can even do hands-free. There is a button over here for that. There's a phone button. Volume controls go back on this screen up here. This controls over here as well. You have cruise control with adaptive cruise as well. Back over in here though, information. You can go view like your fuel economy, eco drive report. Even if you don't know where you're at, you can click where am I and it'll tell you exactly where you're at. There's also InTouch services, which is a Infiniti specific system there. Infiniti drive mode selector, which also, if you come down here, drive mode selector's there, and you can do standard, eco, snow, sport, sport plus, personal, and with personal you can adjust it to whatever you feel like. If you want the throttle to be a bit more responsive like a sport, but you want the car to ride like it's in eco mode, you can definitely set it up to be that way as well. So back over here you can adjust the clock. Of course you have the compass, Sirius XM info, driver assistance, so you have like blind spot assist, emergency brake assist. That will also help, of course, if say something happens and you're distracted and you need to like pay attention to something else or something like that, or someone's having a conversation with you and someone ahead of you stops, the emergency brake assist will kick in and stop the vehicle for you. You also have driving performance, so if you go into here, it can show you your G-forces, so like how hard you're cornering, stuff like that, if you want to take this to the track. Your steering input. It also will tell you your fuel consumption, G-force like that, where you can have a specific performance meter like that. Fuel flow. And then you can also change the gauges again, and you can also have your average fuel economy over here, which you do still have one right up here. Let's see here. You also have, say like audio. You can click on that. You can say BTA over here, which for your Bluetooth, iPod if you use one of those. Disc, if you have a CD, it does have a disc player, which a lot of cars now do not have. You have AM, Sirius XM, FM, and a bunch of different things. You can also control each of your devices from up here. So like right now, if I click play, it would play a song that I have going on my phone there. You also have climate here. So you have the buttons on the side here for climate as well. And over here, so it does have dual zone climate control. It does have a steering wheel heater, which I will turn that on now. And then down here, you have your heated seat, which I will also turn that on because it is a little bit cold out this morning. If you click on dual, you can adjust each of them separately, or if I just start adjusting this one over here, it automatically turns the dual climate zone on. And then if you want to shut that off, you'll have to go in here and click off dual. Over here in this screen, you have these two controls right here on the steering wheel that control everything. So like you have your range, 260 miles, there's no warnings. It says service due in 8,500 miles. Personally would probably just go 5,000 miles on my oil change, but you also have tire pressures, which after you drive, it'll check the tire pressures there and tell you where they're at. You have driving aids. It tells you like the forward collision assist, the blind spot monitor, and then you can also have your Bluetooth audio or what's playing on the radio, depending on what you have it set to. You have a compass, and then you have the average fuel economy. Now over here on this left turn signal stalk, you do have off for your headlights. You have auto headlights, park lights, and regular headlights if you wanted to turn them on. And then right here you have off for the fog lights and then on for the fog lights, but the fog lights will not come on unless you have it in the auto setting or in the full on setting for the headlamps there. Of course you have turn signal as usual. Over here, for wiper controls, you'll pull back to mist the windshield. You will rotate this here to adjust your intermittent when you go down to auto, and you can adjust how fast it'll come up and down. You also have low, medium, and high. Another really cool feature that I personally like is when you have the vehicle in drive. So of course when you're in reverse you do have a backup camera, which also shows you 360 view all the way around the vehicle here. And then you can change view, but when you have it in reverse it generally just stays on the rear view camera. If you have it in drive, you can come up here or you can go down here, click the camera, and then it will show you the front view. And then you can change the view and it'll still show you front view, but over here it will show you the side view We'll click change view again, and it'll show a big screen of the full front view, and then it goes back to do the 360 view and the front view. As we come around to the back of the vehicle here, I'll go over this. So this does still have a regular cap fuel system, which I personally like, and my favorite portion is it even has a place to sit the cap when you're all done. And of course you just put it right back on there, and you are good to go. You do have a carbon fiber little trunk spoiler that runs all the way across there. It does say Q60S right here. Of course, the Infiniti badge and logo. And this one specifically is the all-wheel drive model, and you have this little button here that you press to be able to open up the trunk. And this is about as much cargo space. Actually, car don't go space. Car no fly. This is about as much cargo space as you will get in this vehicle here. I'd say you could probably fit 2 medium-sized suitcases in here fairly well. But enough of this. Let's take this out for a drive and see how she runs. Right now the roads I'm driving down are quite a bit bumpy. And this thing is just, even in sport mode, it's just super comfortable to ride in. It's like, I have a Miata, and it has coilovers on it. You go over every single bump and you feel every single bump. But this, with the electronic dampeners and how they designed them, it's surprisingly smooth even in Sport Plus mode. Now if I switched over to Eco mode here, yeah, that softened everything up even more. So it's like you're almost riding on glass. I won't say exactly like glass, because that would be more like a Citroen 2CV, where you can just go through a field with a basket of eggs and none of them fall. But this thing is very nice, very smooth for what it is right now. So if we come around to the engine here, this is Nissan's, they came out with it in 2015, the VR30DD-TT. It is an all-aluminum block, all-aluminum head construction. Makes this specific one makes 400 horsepower, has dual water-to-air intercoolers under here, and this one also makes 345 feet-pound of torque. The power to weight ratio on this vehicle overall should be right around 10 to 1. Makes about 1 horsepower for every 10 pounds it weighs, and which makes it fairly nimble and very fun to drive. Overall, it's a great experience driving this vehicle. It's being twin turbo, and surprisingly, even though it does weigh around 4,000 pounds, 40/20 is what it comes in on the scales at. It's very quick, very quick. It's great for getting out in traffic, and just overall a great vehicle. And for your daytime running lights, the headlamps go into like these little type shape like that right around each of there. And it's kind of like a boomerang type shape, I would say. And I don't know if you noticed, but the Infiniti logo on here is fake, because this is your long-range radar for your adaptive cruise. You have your battery compartment there, brake fluid over there, washer fluid right here, right by the driver's side headlamp. So yeah, everything's fairly easy to get to that you generally need to get to, especially like oil cap, stuff like that. If you're doing regular maintenance on it, may be a bit different, but yeah. The ticking noise that you hear, that's generally the timing chains and or the direct injectors, because they are pretty loud on these engines. This is also the same engine that's in the new Nissan 400Z, and the 400Z would be a little bit quicker only because it does weigh a bit less, But for a luxury vehicle, I'd say this car overall is about the best you're going to get for your money on the market right now. Honestly, the depth and clarity of this color is just so crazy. The red is just has so much depth and it just pops so well. Like, I don't know that my camera can even do it justice. It's just such a beautiful red. The brakes on this vehicle are a 4-pot caliper brake combination with a 14-inch disc in the front there that Nissan and Infiniti, of course they're both the same company, designed together to be able to bring this thing to a halt. The suspension is electronic, has soft and hard dampening effects there, so if you're going over a really bumpy road, it'll soften the ride there to make the ride a heck of a lot smoother. And if you're going across a smooth road, it'll stiffen it for better handling feeling. And in the rear back here, we do have a single pot brake caliper back here that Nissan and of course Infiniti designed as well for this specific vehicle, with a 13.8-inch rotor in the rear, so just slightly smaller than the one up front. But overall, the brake combination on this vehicle will make this thing come to a massive halt. And so this thing also does have a few different functions on the fob. So of course you have alarm, you have trunk, unlock, lock, and remote start there. And a lot of people don't really know how to use the remote start on these vehicles, so it varies by vehicle, but this one you can just press lock once, hold the start button, and it will start her right up. And a lot of people also don't know, if you want to cancel your remote start, don't press anything except for the remote start button and hold it, and it shuts the car back off. So that's also some cool key features on this that hopefully come in handy for you guys as well. Alright, so let's do a launch test here. And got it in Sport Plus mode, traction control off, and I think we should be good to go. Nice. Actually, for being all-wheel drive, it had a little bit of wheel slippage. I'm surprised. That's really fun. More and more I drive this thing, and I just kind of get a general overall feel for it. It's surprisingly not as wide as you would think it would be, especially for the wheels it has. And honestly, like, that's kind of a good feeling, because I drove like a Honda Civic Type R. That thing is actually wider than it actually feels. And not in a bad way. I mean, it handles great, but something like this specifically, it feels really wide, but when you're actually driving it, it's not nearly as wide as it actually is. And if I could honestly choose this for a daily, I would. It gets surprisingly great fuel economy. I've only put about 50 miles on this thing since I've been driving it, and I've averaged, this says 16 miles to the gallon, but I know I've averaged closer to like 25 in all honesty. And that's really good, especially for a high-performance luxury vehicle. Luxury vehicles, they weigh a lot, so they generally don't have the lightness to keep the engine from not struggling to keep it moving. So with this having a kind of a higher powerful, more powerful motor, being able to keep it going, it's able to get good fuel economy, of course get you to the places you need to be quickly and efficiently, and I would say it's pretty good. I mean, ideally this vehicle, they say you're supposed to get a combined average of 20 miles to the gallon, that being 27 on the highway and 22 in the city, which, you know, is kind of funny that they say you're supposed to get a combined average of 20, because the actual combined average there would be like 24 and a half. But I don't know, honestly. I mean, Colorado here with all these hills and stuff, I'd say you could probably, in the city, average it somewhere probably right around that 25 range, and on the highway, depending on where you're driving at, I could say you could probably even average 30, 35. Because it's just surprisingly well, as long as you have it in eco mode and it's shifting into 7th gear, it's just overall a great vehicle. When it comes to being efficient and being quick and everything around that, it's overall great. All right, so I have to say, overall bang for your buck on this vehicle is probably, I would give it a 10 out of 10. You get 400 horsepower, so you can easily get out in the traffic with zero issues. It handles extremely well. It's all-wheel drive as well, so you can easily get around in snow or any inclement weather. I would say overall bang for your buck, you're definitely well off buying this vehicle, assuming you want a two-door coupe. Now, even if you do have kids, there's surprisingly a heck of a lot of room in the back there to be able to fit everyone. Trunk space, you may suffer a little bit on that, but overall, I would say this is a great vehicle. Now, the color, of course, blows me away. This depth and clarity in this is just amazing. You get these massive brakes that bring the vehicle to a stop in an extremely short amount of time, which is amazing. Aside from that, you have power to be able to get out in traffic on the highway. It's just overall a great vehicle. It's kind of a driver's vehicle. It's also a luxury vehicle, say if you want to have a night out on the weekend. Perfect for that as well. So I say this is probably one that you'd want to have in your garage. If you are into this kind of vehicle, two-door coupe, a little bit sportier, definitely more fun, but please like, subscribe, share this video, and if you guys are interested in purchasing it, the dealership I work at, Red Nolan Cadillac, has this for sale right now for you. I personally don't know the price on it, but if you get with one of the salesmen, they'll be able to hook you up. And thank you again for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and just leave some comments down below.